Hello, friends. Welcome to this live stream about science and new discoveries, new inventions. So, welcome to Science Show. And today I have compiled, latest information which has happened in the area of science. So, let's move to the first one. And this is coming from Mars. You know that Mars is a very rocky, very desert type planet, and different. We have been doing a lot of study. In fact, there has been a lot of study done on Mars. If you look at the human exploration after Earth, Mars is the second planet where there's a lot of exploration that humans have done. So what we have found is that since Mars has a thinner atmosphere, whenever it is struck by a meteorite and there is a huge explosion as soon as the meteorite hit the surface of the Mars, just like it would actually happen on Earth, but at Earth has a thicker atmosphere, so many times meteorites actually burn up in the atmosphere. Only ashes fall on the ground, or probably they just get dispersed and they don't interact with the rock of the surface of the Earth. But on the surface of the Mars, since the atmosphere is quite thin, the meteorite impact happens and the connection between the material of the meteorites and the surface, the Martian rock happens. And over time, because of these different collisions which has happened on that red planet, the ionization of the rocky material has happened, and that is basically pretty much controlled by the material which has been brought up from the space onto the surface. So most of the surface is kind of re-engineered by the meteorite impact on the surface of Mars. So what implication that has on the future human exploration, it's hard to say, but the latest discovery is that the surface of the Mars has been reshaped, shaped and reshaped again and again because of this meteoroid impact. And if we are trying to find something original on Mars, at least on the surface, it may not be original because that has been reshaped by the impacts of meteorite. All right, let's move to the next invention in the area of science. Now, this is related to supermassive black holes. And you know that the supermassive black holes are really kind of an anomaly which the human scientists don't understand how the supermassive black holes take birth. The formation of the supermassive black hole is largely misunderstood so far. We have various theories, but none of these theories are proven yet. And if the theories are not proven, they live in the area of speculation. So still it is unknown that how, I mean, it is known as far as the theories are concerned, but no proof has been given for in favor of one theory or the other one. No definitive proof. So we don't know how these super massive black holes, which are in the range of billions of solar mass, would have taken birth. However, when the supermassive black hole has taken shape, then from that point onwards the growth can be very well explained. And James Webb has recently seen in the past, of course, because James Webb is seeing things which are quite far off. James Webb has actually shown that there are two dwarf galaxies very early, very far off, far away from here, very early in the early part of the universe when the galaxies were dwarf. They had supermassive black hole in the center. When these two galaxies merged together, the supermassive black hole also merged together to become twice the size of a supermassive black hole. So this kind of merger has been recently seen by the JWST, and in fact it is throwing light that having formed a 1,000 times bigger black hole than the mass of the sun, the journey to become ultra massive and super massive from that point onwards is rather easy. But the challenging part is we don't really understand how these colossal beasts would have taken birth. So I think the search is on to find the correct answer for that. All right, let's move to the next information. This is regarding the human colony on moon, and when the colonization of moon has has to happen, because now the Artemis probe is being sent. In fact, Artemis is a complete plan by itself, where the aim is to settle humans, to build colonies on the surface of the moon, before we actually set up our own colony on the surface of the Mars, because moon is close by. It is just a 3 days trip, and it will be easier to establish the colony on the surface of the moon because it's close by. Mars is still, say, 7 months away every 2 years, so it is a lot easier to set up on the surface of the moon. So Artemis program of NASA is actually aiming to establish a lunar colony, but when the humans arrive there, they would need food apart from oxygen, etc., the essential items. They would probably need movies, and they will also need to do some games like playing cards, carom board, etc. But food is paramount, food and water. So water has been found on the surface of the moon, so we can probably use that water for our utilization. But what about food? So is the lunar soil fine for growing plants, the plants from earth, or any kind of vegetation on the surface of the earth? But typically plants actually take their nutrient from the soil, all the magnesium, potassium, sodium, etc., whatever minerals and requirements the plant has, they actually absorb directly from the soil. So the earth soil has the capability to feed the plant, whereas the lunar soil may not be nutrient rich. We know that for sure. There is a lot of difference when it comes to vegetation. The lunar soil is not suitable to grow plants. So therefore, what about food? If we want to settle on the surface of the moon, what about food? So the scientists have found a new way. In fact, you might have seen that also. You don't actually grow plants in soil. You actually grow plants dipped in water, and you mix your nutrient into the water, and plant will be able to absorb the nutrient directly from the water. Since water has been found on the surface of the moon, you don't really have to farm your vegetables on the surface. You actually build pots and feed the plants hydroponically. That's the process. If you're growing your plant without the soil, you know what nutrients are required for which plant. Add that in the known quantity into water, and then the process will happen, and the plant will thrive on the surface of the moon, even without growing or creating a sort of farmland on the surface of the moon. And that would suffice the need for food when the humans are on the surface, and the first human settlement is established on the surface of the moon. All right, let's move to the next one. Now this is about Europa, and Europa is the very promising body in our own solar system where we can expect to see aliens. Why? Simply because Europa is basically it's a moon of the Jupiter in the Jupiter system, but Europa has a huge ocean. Europa is much smaller than as compared to Earth, but it has a huge ocean. The size of the ocean estimated to be 3 to 4 times the ocean of the Earth. Now, Earth is a large planet, so imagine a smaller body like Europa having 3 to 4 times the water or the ocean as compared to Earth. It is estimated that Europa ocean is so large that the depth of the ocean is up to 200 kilometers. Compare that with Earth. The deepest point that we know of on Earth is hardly 10 kilometers. So imagine an ocean which is 200 kilometers. It is warm water, and it is covered with ice. Ice which is covering the ocean is also 5 kilometers thick. That kind of thick ice will be able to stop all kinds of radiation coming from Sun and from Jupiter, and therefore Europa is a very good candidate to find alien life within our own solar system. And now scientists find that Europa's ocean, subterranean ocean, may be salty in nature, and that is a very good evidence, because even Earth oceans, which probably kick-started the life on Earth, are also salty, and therefore this is a very good find. This is amazing discovery, and the Clipper mission is going to study the Europa starting from 2030, and from that point onwards, our knowledge about Europa will immensely increase, because Clipper is going to study only Europa. As the only mission for Clipper is study Europa and give us more information about what kind of life we can expect in the oceans of the salty ocean of Europa. So it's very exciting, friends. I think I will keep track of this and bring more information as and when I hear about it. All right, let's move to the next one. Now, this is about another satellite in our own solar system, but this time not in Jupiter system, but this time in Saturn system. This satellite is called Enceladus. This is very similar to Europa. It is basically covered with ice. It has water inside, but our knowledge about Enceladus is very little. It is even lesser than Europa. There could be a ocean, a salty ocean inside, but Enceladus is quite active. What we have found is that Enceladus has this jets coming out from the one of the pole of the satellite, and the heat generated inside this body is because of the tidal gravity, because it goes around the Saturn, and whenever it goes around Saturn actually put its effect on the interior of the satellite, not only Enceladus but also other satellites. So because of that, because of the push and pull in the rock, the heat is generated, and because of that the water melts, and there is so much of pressure that this water is coming out as long jets from Enceladus, as you can see in this picture. And now the scientists have detected that these jets are not only water, but it also has certain traces of other elements. More important, silica. Silica is nothing but rock. As we find silica, the most of the rocks on Earth are made of silica, and these jets which are coming out of Enceladus are the water vapors, basically steam mixed with silica powder. And essentially what is happening is that this is actually creating one of the rings of Saturn. So all this silica which is coming out of Enceladus is actually helping creating one of the ring of Saturn. But the important thing is that this proves that there are rocks inside Enceladus. There is water and there is rock. So it's a very different kind of concoction which may be happening. So more studies required to study this particular moon of Saturn. Maybe after we have finished our study of Europa on Jupiter, we can actually then turn our attention to the Saturn system, which is further away from us, quite far off from, even further down from Jupiter. So we can then start understanding more about the Saturn system. So friends, these are the latest discoveries and information in the area of science. I will meet you again tomorrow at same time in the next edition of Science Show. Until then, please take care. See you tomorrow.